Okay, we are back, and we do so far have the bands of Draven, not Draven. Draven wouldn't be banned ever. Jarvan, the Prince, Rise, and Thresh. We'll see who else comes out. Taking long consideration, possibly looking at their match histories right now to see who they played the most and who's they're winning. And they do go for an Orianna ban, fairly targeted right there. And they might be a little afraid after watching the last game for that. And we do have an Elise ban as well, a fairly good jungler and top laner, both parts. Her nice little, she has the ability to catch out, so I can see why that is a good ban coming out from Canada 5.
I mean, we also saw, I'm not sure if you discussed the Rise ban, but Rise is potent. He's so potent early, as well as his scaling late game is extremely strong. So that's a good ban. I'm not sure if it's targeted or if it's just a good. It is a good overall ban. So I have to commend them on that one.
He's also a really good top laner, which might be something that they fear. And we do have the Tristana ban, so I feel like the Rise, Orianna, and Tristana were all targeted bans, but they left a bunch of really good junglers left open for them. So we do have Zac being picked up so far for first pick for Canada 5. And this is game 2. Canada 5 just won their first game as well. So we'll see where this goes.
We see that. Yeah, we see that Caitlyn pickup, and that's a good early game. That's good early game presence there. They were hovering over Vayne, which I prefer the Vayne pick, but that's a tough one with like champions like Caitlyn and Draven. Even with the nerf, Draven is still potent. So there, Caitlyn does make a little more sense. It's a safer pick than Vayne is. It doesn't leave her open to good counter picks. And,
speaking of Draven, and we see him here. Hopefully, we do get to see him play. Recently, his Q did get reworked. Not his Q, his passive did get reworked. Instead of the blood stacks, now he gets just free money, and it's kind of OP actually. The stuff you can just gain with that cash. So we'll see how Adoration works in this game.
Yep, with that extra gold, I'm not quite sure how impactful it is. I haven't had a chance to really test it on my own time yet, but being able to stack to, I think it was 100 Adoration, and being able to get 50 additional gold by killing a champion might be very impactful, and I just don't know about it yet.
See Blitz and Sona both being hovered over here, and it is Blitz, so we are gonna see those nice axes coming out with those nice grabs from Winterfell. Fairly good on both those champions, but I think his Blitz is a little better. So hopefully he brings the fist to the party right here in these team fights. And we did have Hecarim being picked up, still a really good jungler despite what you guys had seen the last game.
I don't know if Winterfell is their support player here, though. I think he is holding it for the AP mid pick, just to try to see what the purple team picks up. Hopefully, being able to counter pick as well.
We do have Kennen being hovered over, possibly in that top lane. A very, very, very good top laner. Lots of poke. Lots of mobility, and just as soon as a Hecarim gank comes out, he's just gonna pick up kills. Gonna go for that probably early Zhonya's for team fights is gonna be something that we're gonna have to look out for from that from Kennen. And Sona is picked up as support as well.
We saw the Kennen ban last game with his amount of strength that he comes out with, his presence early game, and how strong his CC is late game. He synergizes this AoE comp really well. The only thing that could have changed about their comp is maybe have a misfortune over Caitlyn, but He's definitely a much more comfortable Caitlyn player. And with that Hecarim initiation, Sona counter initiation with ult, Kennen can get in there with an Hourglass. There's just so much possibility here. And Kennen's also able to split push extremely well against anybody with that Hourglass.
And we do have Jace being locked in fairly well. That top lane, those are a really good matchup. They both have lots of poke and lots of damage. I feel like Jace has a lot more burst potential than Kennen does. So early ganks coming out from that Zac might push Jace to the lead right there. And we do have Evelynn in the mid. Actually, we might see Jace. I'm kind of confused because I've seen Evelynn top, so hopefully she's mid. She's a really, really good mid player, building Liandry's and then just going tank AP from there just will set her into motion. We might have a TF and might have an Ahri coming out right now.
Ahri will help.
I'd rather see that TF.
Yeah, TF will help in the early game presence. Late game, his contribution to this AoE comp will help catch people off, but Ahri does the same job. So with Ahri and TF, both those picks help to initiate. TF is able to initiate through ultimating, stunning, and hourglassing, as we've seen in several LCS matches. And we also have Ahri, which is able to use her ultimate, get in range of Charm, and also initiate that team fight if Hecarim is not able to.
I feel like these fights right here are almost kind of even. We do have better AoE ults coming out from Purple Team right here, which I believe is Solo Q University. And that Kennen Sona coming back from when that Hecarim ultimate comes out is just going to be very, very strong, and already just bouncing around and picking up kills. And then Caitlyn coming in with the ace in the hole for the last minute might be a better, I feel like it's going to be a really, really strong team fight compared to what Canada 5 has right here.
And we do have that Evelynn jungle. I believe that's Zac top and Jace mid.
Yeah, that looks like what it's going to be. Eve jungle just as strong as she is in top and mid lane. And I haven't seen a Zac top in a while, but Jace mid is just going to burst down onto Ahri fairly well. It's not directly a counter, but his gate with his blast is just going to be pretty strong. Can't wait to see ganks coming out, and a lot of pink wards are going to have to be bought this game, so Zona's going to be losing a lot of gold.
We'll see how quick Jace is with his combination. If he tries to get in range of using his acceleration gate and shock blast, then Ahri is able to see an opportunity to charm there. Both are able to have to trade without minions in the line. But Ahri does have an advantage in the sense of she can use her Q ability to go over minions to harass Jace. So we'll see kind of how what strategy Ahri deploys here in terms of harassing over creeps or trying to get into a good charm range to set up the combination.
I just can't. I really like. When I see heavy AoE ultimates, I just fall in love with team fights all of a sudden because it gives me something to scream about. And it's, oh my gosh, it just makes me want to jump out of my seat when I see like a well-timed Sona ult just catch everybody. So hopefully we see those ults come out like amazingly. And we are in the delay right now, a minute left.
Yep.
So
the strategy that I want to see employed in some of these matches, which I haven't seen yet, is once they let on to building this AoE comp, I want to see a pretty solid wave clear split push team set up. I haven't really seen any Shens or Trindamirs or Shaco's even for that matter. Shaco is a great split pusher with those other two, but we don't see that strategy used. And then if you can set up a wave clear comp similar like Cho'Gath or Lissandra or anything else that can wave clear really well, if you can pair that with a backdoor split pusher, that actually really cuts into AoE team comps like this. But I haven't seen that strategy used. In
the tournaments in the this tournament specific, and last week in the tournaments before, there hasn't been fairly much use of split pushing lanes from what I've seen. The most you see is occasionally a Jace just split topping top lane while the rest of his team go for the mid lane, which is just a fairly common thing when you have a Jace on your team. But other than that, there hasn't been many like CLG level split pushes coming out.
And also the team comps that excel with duelists. So you have like your Zed and even your Kennen. He's a decent split pusher. But I really want to see more Zed. I haven't seen enough of him lately. And the stream is currently not on the league game, but we'll get that sorted out here shortly.
Yeah, the Mac client takes a little bit of stuff to load before it actually comes in. Again, it is a Mac client. It's a lot different than how instantly we see our games. But we do have Gladiator Draven, so we're gonna have all the applause coming up for Draven and Full Metal Jace just rocking the metal. And we do have Sheriff Caitlyn gonna show everyone who belongs in the handcuffs, possibly by securing a win in Pentakill Sona.
Unfortunately, Caitlyn left the fuzzy handcuffs at home.
Yes. It's one of my favorite jokes. It's so good. I love Riot when they give awesome jokes to champions. It's just,
So as we get loaded in here, we'll see how Sona buys to counteract Evelynn. Usually we'll see a lot more pink wards coming out from the team that's going against Evelynn, just because regular wards won't detect her, so there's really not as much of a purpose to buying the normal sight wards as opposed to vision wards, because they don't help warn you against an Evelynn gank. So I would be excited to see this Sona come out with just 2 vision wards, and I want to see how that would work, but I'm not sure she'll go with that strategy in terms of buying. Probably just default item build.
I mean, usually an Evelynn jungle is like ganked till around level 5 or level 6 when she does get a lot more burst potential and or her ultimate. So she may not be buying those until that happens.
It all depends on the red buff in the early game. With that Blitzcrank, they might try to force things early bottom lane. And that's the only reason I suggested the Sona pink wards is because of the Blitzcrank presence against the Sona. Blitz is extremely strong against Sona and Draven, so that was a good pickup for the Blitzcrank. Just because neither of them can get out without using flash unless they pull, like if he pulls them.
And that's going to be something else we see is Sona is going to be so targeted in that bot lane, especially when EU does come to gank. She only did pick up 1 pink ward, so we're going to see if that's used as a way to ward off their junglers to pink one of their wards, or if it's going to be used as the laning phase item.
Yeah, most of the time, Blitzcrank with 1 pink ward and Sona with 1 pink ward, both will sit on it until the other one uses it. So we probably won't see the early pink ward coming out to help counteract the Evelynn, but we'll see if Evelynn picks up that early red buff and heads bottom to get that Draven snowballing in the right direction.
And we already have a disconnect coming out from, and a game pause coming out. So Caitlyn did just DC, so we'll see what happens.
Players in their porn can't turn it off their monitor. Oh, hopefully he gets it all straightened out though. We'll see how bottom lane goes. I'm personally a bot lane player, so if I start, I'll be going on and on and on about farms and matchups and those kinds of things bottom lane.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, we'll see.
Support.
Yeah, we'll see what Blitzcrank does. I'm not personally a fan of Blitzcrank right now, although he is strong in this matchup. Blitzcrank will be able to dominate that lane with the hook if he hits a good grab. But if he does in fact miss a hook, they have no lane presence whatsoever except for Draven's spinning axes. So Blitzcrank has to choose wisely. When I play Blitzcrank, I just sit on the hook and don't use it very often, and try to just get them to stay passive with the presence that Blitzcrank has by just having the hook off cooldown. So we'll see how he plays it. The top lane, Kennen versus Jace. I'm not sure how that matchup will go. Early game, both players are ranged, so I think we'll see a lot of passive farming. Once Jace hits his acceleration gate and shock blast combination, roughly around level 2, we'll see if Jace's mana will be able to sustain the early poke. That Kennen puts out a good amount of early damage as well. But Kennen doesn't have to worry about that mana requirement. So we'll see if he's able to outlast Jace in the lane in terms of harass potential in this early game. Oh, even though Zach's probably top, isn't he? So it'll be Kennen or Jace and Ahri. So I'm mistaken. I'm not used to Zach not jungling.
My game crashed. That's what happened. I was kind of panicking because it was showing the game, but it wasn't. But I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. So yeah, client crash OP. Apparently, the computer did freeze for Caitlyn, so he is relogging, and we will have an unpause coming out hopefully fairly soon.
And it looks like we're back.
And all good too. We do look like we might have a small blue invade over here. And we do have a lot of damage going out onto Ahri in the mid lane. The ignite is on her, but it's not going to tick down low enough to take her out. She is going to have to recall. And that was a lot of nice damage out. And they are going to secure blue with this, I believe.
Yes, I believe Hecarim's just going to start it as red, and he's gonna plan to go get the enemy blue buff, but they do have it warded, so I think they're just gonna get a free buff steal here and get a good lead out of this in the jungle by denying the enemy jungler farm.
We did see miss Blitzpool there, but other than that, that was a nice amount of damage and a nice play that they did there just to make sure they secured that. Evelyn's just gonna go about the daily route of taking her own stuff now and just being ridiculous. In the bot lane, I think we already have some stuff going down. A lot of, not really damage, but just pushing each other and scaring each other. Draven's still a scary laner to go against, even though he doesn't have that bleed passive anymore. Blitz pulling minions. Why, Blitz? Why?
Well, if I was Sona, I would have taken that that Blitz hook. I would have run and let him pull me, because they hit level 2 prior to Draven and Blitzcrank hitting level 2. So it's just lack of awareness on that play. He could have made something happen there, I feel.
He does get the pull that time. Looking very low. It does look like Draven might go down right here. He does flash, and another auto attack is going to make sure that Caitlyn does pick up the kill. Picking up the first blood, and the heals from Sona just being ridiculous. Winterfell not being able to pick up on that Caitlyn.
And right there, the question I asked myself at the beginning is, why is Blitzcrank playing Ignite? It's a flavor of the month. People apparently like Ignite, but Exhaust there won that fight. Or Heal by Sona there won that fight. I'm not sure why neither side chose to do Exhaust. Maybe I'm a little outdated on my bot lane summoner spells.
Well, when you have a Caitlyn lane, she is a very pokey champion, but she can get caught fairly easy. She does have her net for escape, but that doesn't do enough to actually save her from, say, a flash coming at her instead. So what you want to do is, when you do a protect the carry composition for just strictly being in the bot lane, that heal on a Sona on top of her already heal ability is just really, really nice.
It is strong, but I feel Exhaust counteracts the barrier much better than that. But maybe Blitzcrank didn't even get it.
And we do have a gank coming up in the top lane. Kennen gonna have to do Lightning Rush to escape, and Winterfell in the bot lane just still pulling minions. The charm missing from Ahri in the mid lane, literally just by a smidgen, but still getting enough damage off to Jace with that Foxfire. We have a gang coming on to Ahri in the mid lane. She is very low. Ignite is on her. The spikes are coming out. Taylor Swift is picking up. Hecarim is re-engaging onto that, but will not be able to do enough to push them both out. A little late to the call for 911 right there.
Now, unfortunately, Ahri did not know that Evelynn was trouble when she walked in.
No, and she just did that in heals. So that's just going to be really ridiculous. Gold lead it isn't even there anymore. They just even themselves out with that kill. And that was just a really good game play right there.
We had a good pink ward placement by Sona. She was able to see that Evelynn with that pink ward, and they were able to evade that gank, which is a big deal with how contested bot lane is right now.
We do have Kennen getting ult and just doing enough damage, and Zac initiating the Let's Bounce, using it as an escape, and might go back right here.
And Blitzcrank
Mama picked up a kill.
Blitzcrank hit a very good hook on that Caitlyn. Sona could not do anything to help her there, and it's just a really easy pickup on the Caitlyn. Hecarim's hanging out near blue buff. trying to see if she should, seeing if he should help Ahri out or he should go bot lane.
And I think Evelyn's gonna hit level 5 off of this. Yes, a pull onto Sona right there. The ult does come out. Draven just doing a lot of damage onto Sona. Just not enough to kill her. Taking turret damage is gonna have to back right here. But we'll be able to buy. He might cash in his adoration stacks and might we see a bigger item than usual coming out from Draven.
I think the way adoration works is on champion kill, doesn't it? Or am I mistaken?
It works on champion and minion.
Okay, so I know he gains stacks from killing champions and minions, but what actually cashes in half of his adoration? I think it's champion kill that triggers it, but I don't know if I'm mistaken or not.
Yeah, the champ kills cash it in, but the minions allow it to build up.
Okay.
And he is going to come back a lane with full boots and a vampiric scepter. Fairly nice. Usually, as an AD carry, you don't rush those boots. You usually wait till you get maybe a nice chunk of damage, usually coming out from that best friend sword. But that's not going to be the case here. He's just going to go want that mobility, and the mobility is going to help in ganks, actually.
The best friend sword. I've always called it a more graphic name than that, but I
no,
mean,
it's actually the best friend sword. The name in the Italian translation is best friend.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I wish I was kidding. When I found that out, I was like, yeah, so I've been right all these years.
Looks like we're setting up a top lane gank, and we go on Kennen right here.
A nice ultimate coming up from Kennen, trying to be fairly defensive and trying to get the stuns out, trying to survive, but not going to be able to do that. Zac just being ridiculous as a top laner.
That is the strength of an Evelynn jungle.
We have Jace and Hecarim fighting it out. The ignite goes on to Hecarim, and Ahri comes in, gets the charm. Jace just not having enough damage, and Taylor Swift picking up the kill onto Hecarim. Ahri still looking fairly low. We do have the ignite onto Eve. Will she go down? She is safe, and Jace picks up the kill on Ahri. That was a 2-for-none exchange right there. The mid lane is just going to be pushed down. This might be the first tower of the game. I apologize for coughing. I'm terrible.